Hello and welcome to our channel. Look at it this way. My name is Marvin Kane. I am your host, and I look forward to having a wonderful conversation with you today. Again, this is Marvin Kane, your host of Look at It This Way. And today's subject is about May December relationships. Well, they're not new. In fact, in the modern era, communication and technology has given us many examples of these type of relationships. You can see them on the news, you can hear about them in television shows, you can even see them in movies. It's a popular topic. In fact, if you are even a Bible reader, you know that Adam and Eve were not made at the exact same time. Many Bible scholars would say that Adam spent somewhere between 15, maybe 25 years as a single man before he met Eve, who later became his wife. So this type of relationship is not new, but it has raised a few questions, such as what is the vitality of an older man? Can he keep up? And how does a younger woman not lose interest in an older man? And really, the converse to that is how does an older man with his experience not lose interest in a younger woman with less experience? And we're talking about notable things throughout history, throughout life, experiences in life, things like that. And then when it comes to children, what about the younger woman being the same age, or even younger, or slightly older, as his daughters or son? How do these factors, these are the questions that come up. How do these things factor into the balance of a positive relationship? Now, the truth is this. We know that many celebrities who have what we call May December or age gap relationships. You might be familiar with George Clooney and his wife Amal, or Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart. Very well known relationships. And as you always see them in public, everything seems to be joyful. There's a lot of love in these relationships, no different than any other type of relationship that you can even imagine. But as rumors would have it to be, some say that there's some issues within their relationships. Well, isn't that true of every relationship? Our focus is on a heterosexual relationship between a man and a woman. Now, in today's world, many women agree that one of the reasons that they seek out older men is that they're just simply more comfortable with an older man who's mature. Now, the emphasis is on the word mature. But now, for the sake of discussion, let's talk about something very specific. And as we get specific in our discussion, we want to focus our discussion on our theme, which is women mature faster. I mean, is that true? I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you think women mature faster? Well, we're going to continue to talk about these things and develop a foundation. So, as we're being specific, there is a dynamic that happens when two people come together. That is a man and a woman. And regardless of an age, it's emotional connection. See, women do this very, very well. Now, there are 2 points that we want to consider also, that when it comes to connections, women are much better at making connections than men are. See, for so long, men have said things about women such as women are very emotional. They talk too much. They they get angry and so forth. Men have always said these things, not really appreciating that a woman's emotion is her power. Now, I'm going to reflect to a study that was done by Cambridge University many, many years ago. And they were talking about the sizes of men's brains compared to the sizes of women's brains. Now, the reality is men's brains are larger. But fellas, before you start jumping and waving your flag and triumph, please understand that, that a larger brain does not emphasize intelligence. In fact, a larger brain actually has a lot of wasted space. But what it does for men in having a larger brain is it gives man the ability to see more. He's able to see and scale and see what's going on around him a lot more clear. Now, the woman who has the smaller brain, her brain uses less wasted space. Her brain is well occupied. And so she's able to concentrate a lot better. In fact, the smaller brain operates more efficient. It's almost in the sense of, how do you get to work? Do you want to get to work in a 1957 Chevy? Well, that is a nice car. But how about a modern day Porsche? That's a really nice car. See, that's efficiency, smaller and efficiency. So the damage that men have done to themselves when they talk about emotional maturity, or that women are too emotional, is that they didn't understand what they were actually saying. For example, life is emotional. I mean, imagine this. I mean, someone says, "How are you today?" Isn't it about your emotions? How do you feel? Those are your emotions. Do you like soup, or do you like fried chicken? Do you like vegetarian food? Do you like being vegan? See, all these things come to play when it's about your emotions. We go through our day and we deal with emotions. If you're running late on an assignment, I mean, that's emotional. See, women have always dealt with their emotions in a very different way than men, which is why women very easily, younger women very easily can connect to older men because of that emotional maturity. And scientists have even said recently that it's that emotional intelligence that women have that typically makes them smarter than men. So these are just some of the arguments as to why there is a balance between the mindset of an older man and the mindset of a younger woman. It's quite interesting, right? So these are the type of subjects that we speak on. Now, older men, when it comes to being in the relationship, have no fear of saying to a woman things like, "I'm sorry, please forgive me. It's okay. I love you." And women tap into this and they realize this is a good thing. Whereas many times younger men, they kind of shy away from the commitment. So they kind of leave their door maybe with a little crack in it. And then over time, the crack kind of widens open and they're looking to see what their other options are. Well, with an older man, he closes the door. It's locked shut. Why? Because he knows this could be his last opportunity. So he really wants to get it right. So he endures a lot of things. Well, she's enduring too. We're not trying to make this one sided, but he really does endure many, many things when it comes to this relationship. He puts up with things, for example, his patience. He has to lower his level of patience to a level of pure understanding because he wants to show this woman that he can connect to her. It's all about the connection. It's all about what are the things the two people have in common. And this is quite powerful. So in today's world, the man is more likely to find himself a younger woman because she just doesn't bring the pain baggage with her. A lot of times when women get into relationships, they bring out the pain, or they do. Women will sometimes I said sometimes, and not all women, but some women will sometimes not talk about previous relationships. They just won't even explore. They won't tell you what happened in the past. They just won't open up about it. That's just a personal preference, and that's a comfortability factor when it comes to women. But then there's some women, and that's not even a bad thing of what I just mentioned. But when it comes to things such as a woman talking about an ex, and she gets upset if she tells the story. See, these things can become a problem. I can remember a really good friend of mine, and I know a lot of people in these major sibling relationships, whether the woman is older and the man is younger, or the man is older and the woman is younger. I know a lot of these relationships. They're just so common today that I don't understand the stereotypes, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But a good friend of mine wanted me to meet his new potential love interest, family friend. He's never known her, but he's known the particular family that she's a part of. And he wanted me to meet her. So, I went out with him, hung out. It was a really nice time. But I noticed she was a little bossy. I didn't understand why so bossy. So I decided, hey, let's go talk at my house. So we all come to my house and, we have a nice little meal. We picked up some food, nice little meal. And we're enjoying ourselves. We're talking, we're eating, right? So I started to tell my story about my past relationship. See, I've been married twice, and I've had two failed marriages. My first marriage lasted 11 years, and my second marriage lasted 19 years. So basically, I have 30 years marital experience. Now, I'm not going to, in this particular discussion, get into the details of what went wrong rather in my marriages. But there were some very negative things that happened that affected me and that affected my ex-wives at the same time. However, as I started to tell the story about what was taking place in my first marriage, I just told the story. When I even advanced it to say what took place in my second marriage, again, I just told the story. And I'm telling the story just like I'm sitting here talking to you today. Do I look angry? Do I seem upset? Do I seem agitated in sharing my story? Of course I don't. Well, that's just how I shared the story with this woman and my friend, right? So she cut me off. I was about to get to the good stuff, but she cut me off. And as she cut me off, she started to tell her story. And when she told her story, she was carrying the bag of pain. And she was just angrily talking about how horrible her former husband was, the 25 years that they had spent together, and the 7 children that they had, and how he was just a despicable disgrace. All those things could be true. So I asked her, I said, well, how long has it been since you all have not been together? She said 20 years. This woman. Now, obviously, this is an up in age couple. She's about 5 years older than my friend. She's 70. Yeah, she's 75 actually, and he's 70. Something close to 70, something like that. But here's my point. At 70 years old, not having been in this relationship for 20 years, she was divorced at 50. So for 50 years, she's still carrying around this bag of pain. And this bag of pain is driving her crazy. She cannot even tell the story in a peaceful way. She can't let go because she's angry. And this is what happens a lot of times in relationships with older women over their 40s. And unfortunately, sometimes women as young as their 30s, they still holding on to all this. They can't let it go. They get so frustrated. See, that's a bag of pain. That's a mental concern right there. That's depression. That's anxiety. And if you go into a relationship with someone that feels that way, it's just going to bring you down. You're not going to advance with the relationship this way. So I told my friend, I was like, listen, you and I, when you talk about your ex-wife, you speak in peace. When I speak about my ex-wives, I speak in peace. But she's like, now I didn't say this in front of her, I said, but she's angry. She hasn't gotten over her former relationship. Maybe there's some love there. Maybe there is some reason why she's still there and still feels so bitter. And see, that's what happens. And so younger women, they haven't been ruined, so to speak, by a man yet to that level where that's what the main focus of this relationship is going to be about. I mean, you really want to be in a relationship where every negative thing you do reminds somebody of the negative situation they were previously in. I mean, this is your relationship. This is the new relationship. And this is the relationship that should be going forward into the future. But no, this woman wants to sit there and talk about how you're just like my ex. See, nobody wants to hear that because we're individuals. And as individuals, we want to be about being our best and our happiest. So it's quite interesting when you think about the dynamics of two people coming together. And really what happens is, even though there's a broad distance in age, there's a lot of years that separate an older man from a younger woman, they still have things in common when it comes to their emotions and their intellectual abilities. And that's what relationships are about. Relationships are about connecting with someone on a peaceful level, on a level so your journey can continue. But see, sometimes there are bumps in the road, but that's okay. So those are the subjects that we look to talk about as we continue to take on our live channel and we just provide information for you to listen to and talk to us about. We want to get some guests on here. So hopefully in the future, we're anticipating having some guests to come on the show with us, and we want to be able to find out what people really think. So as you consider what we just talked about, women mature faster. Tomorrow, we're going to have our part two. And part two is going to be about older women, or rather, older men can handle relationships better. Now, I'm thinking that, what does that mean? What do you mean older men can handle relationships better? Yeah, they really, really can. So let's talk about it. And if you'd like to join in our live tomorrow, it starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So listen, this has been really good to have this moment and this opportunity to talk with you. And before we go, we just want to give you this simple reminder. As you go towards tomorrow, as you make the progress to leave today and to go to tomorrow, show love to all those that are around you. Show your love and reap the benefits of being a good neighbor, a good friend, a good son, a good daughter, a good husband, a good wife, a good boyfriend, good girlfriend. Just be kind to one another. We want to thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Look at It This Way as we talk on the subject older men can handle relationships better. And I am your favorite host, Marvin King.